Welcome to episode 4 of the further adventures of your friendly neighborhood rockin' hiking librarian. Hi, I'm Biddle, your friendly neighborhood rockin' hiking librarian, and this is episode 4, the YWA Rockin Library. The library where I work at and have some crazy adventures that happen every week. Well, actually every day it seems like. The kids are wonderful, the library is great, and that's what this episode's going to be about, is me talking about the library I have. I wanted to do a walkthrough video, but I think that's going to happen probably next week or the week after. I still have a few more things I have to set up before school starts, and I want you all to get that full effect of the rockin' library. I'm very fortunate to have the library that I have right now. I have a great collection. My manga collection is really good, and I keep adding more and more each year. I have a fantastic collection of graphic novels, and then my fiction section has been genrefied. I'm going to walk around it in my mind as I go through my genreification of my library. There's the classics, romance, paranormal romance, horror, dystopian, sci-fi, and then I have a wonderful, amazing women's studies collection, because since I'm at an all-girls public school, grades 6 through 12, I thought it was important to have a section of great books about incredible women, from politics to the fine arts, to women in STEM, to women in the colonial times, women in World War II, women in the Civil War, women who have done great things. I mean, I could go on, but that will be for my video walkthrough to show you the different sections I have in that. I also have realistic fiction, which I've broken down into realistic sports, realistic fine arts, realistic animals, realistic contemporary, which I want to break down to a couple more sections in that one, and realistic mental health. Then we move over to the fantasy section, which I've broken up into different subgenres because the fantasy section was so huge. So I have fantasy dragons, fantasy mythology, fantasy fairy tales, fantasy anthropomorphic, I can never say that word, anthropomorphic, fantasy with animals, kind of Redwall, also the, what was I going to say, the one with the cats. Oh my gosh, I forgot what that one's called. It's, it'll come to me, and I'll get back to that. Anyway, then I have a high fantasy. Then I have fantasy. I want to break those down again to. I'll probably add urban fantasy eventually, and then I have historical fiction, mystery, and humor. It's that's it. So that's my collection. Of course, I do have nonfiction, which is not as big as it's actually a bigger section than my fiction section, but each year it keeps getting smaller because those books keep getting older. But I don't add too many new titles, except for like the women's studies section, and then like books that kids can just kind of go through and browse, because we have a lot of great databases and a lot of great online resources. All right, so my library, that's my collection. I have a makerspace, and my first makerspace right when you walk in, and this makerspace I consider more of my electronic one. I have 2 3D printers. I have 2 Cricut machines, a Cricut Maker and a Cricut Explorer Air, and then I also have a Cricut mug press, and I have a Cricut hat press, and I have plenty of supplies. The kids do not have to do a project for school to use the makerspace. They can use it to for their own personal, what would I say? I was going to say personal gain, but no, for their own personal use. And when we first got the mug press, I was blown away because I was like, oh, these kids are going to make so many mugs for themselves. But actually, they made mugs for their family members, their friends, their teachers. It wasn't about them, it was about everybody else. Last year we made over 85 mugs. Well, they made over 85 mugs. And just amazing. And then we also have our ID machine in there. And what's really cool about the makerspace is the rule I have is once I teach the kids, they have to teach someone else. And that makes my life a lot easier because they know how to do all the work. They can do it themselves. They just come in. If it's really busy, they'll have to sign in for a time, but it's a drop in, and it's really cool. And it goes in waves. We get closer to Mother's Day, we get closer to Christmas. That's when it gets really busy. Oh, we also have a Cricut press, so they can do the iron-ons. So there's a very popular makerspace that we get a lot of things done. All right, then as I walk out of that makerspace, my circulation desk is going to be on the right, and then to the left we have what I call two podcast rooms. Podcast room number 1 has a big 27-inch Mac, and that Mac has loaded on it, like all the Macs in my library. They have Final Cut Pro and they have Logic Pro, which are professional video and audio editing software that they can use at any time. And Podcast Room 1 has an incredible Apogee mic, it's the Hyper mic, which is a very fancy professional microphone that they can use for their podcasting. And in that room, there's also a green screen. The Podcast Room 2 also has a green screen, also has the fancy software. Like I said, all the Macs I have, which are the 27-inch Macs, they all have the Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro. But in this one, we have an electric guitar, amp, and effects. We have a MIDI board set up with the desktop, the Apple. We also have a little board, and then we have microphones so the kids can do some music production, or they can do podcasting with that. And of course, there's a green screen in there. And my green screens in those 2 rooms are homemade because, didn't have the money, but they work just as well. So going out of those 2 rooms, we also have what opened last year is another makerspace. I call it the Makerspace Craft Room, the YWA Rockin Library Makerspace Craft Room. In that craft room, we have lots of perler beads for the kids to make anything they want. We have the specific ones like the Harry Potter, the Star Wars, the Disney villains. But I tell the kids go online and they can find patterns for whatever they like, or they can create their own. We have lots of puzzles. We have 2 sewing machines. We have a lot of EVA foam, so they can create cosplay costumes. And I do have a lot of templates of stuff they can use and cut and create. Lots of paints, lots of craft paper, and it's going to just keep growing. I want them to be creators and not consumers. So, well, they are consuming my material. I guess they are consumers in a way. But I want them to be creators where they make something, not consuming like online and just looking at things. So that craft room has been very popular. And of course, just like the other one, it goes in waves. And we also have Lego in there for them to create and do things with. All right, so that's that room. And then we have another room which used to be my office. It's our broadcast room, because we do live announcements from there. And that also has a real nice green screen and has really nice professional mics for the kids to do the announcements with. It has a very nice professional roadcaster board. Works really well. Great monitors too, and it is fantastic. It is a great podcast room and video room. Kids use it for projects all the time. All the rooms are used for projects all the time, but that one's specific for the recording of the announcements, and I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed to have all these wonderful rooms in my library that the kids can come in and use anytime. So that's my YWA Rockin Library. I can't wait to make a video to guide you through and show you so you can see all the cool things I have. I would like to do it when kids are present so they can show you what they're making. This is where I usually stop and talk about a book that I've read recently or within the last couple of years, and also an audiobook. But what I'm going to do from now on is I'm going to have a second segment, or actually another episode, where I will be doing book bites. And the book bites will be a little bit longer review of the book, talking more about some of the characters, the way it was written. And I'm also going to have special guests, teachers and students, to talk about a book they've read, or maybe a book that we've both read, so we can discuss it. And as far as the audiobooks are concerned, I want to do also with the book bites, the audiobook, and talking a little bit about the way the person who is delivering it, how they are doing with their delivery, what's so good about it, and like I said, go a little bit more in depth. But I am going to do one more book review of a book that I recently revisited, and it's my favorite Batman collection of comics, and a trade paperback. It is called The Long Halloween. And it's from DC Comics. It's Batman's DC, and he's my favorite character, and my favorite Marvel, if you're wondering. My favorite Marvel character is Spider-Man. I grew up watching the old Batman and Robin TV show, bam, kaboom, and the old Spider-Man cartoons. I just loved it. It's part of my early, I guess, elementary days, or middle elementary days. Anyway, the book is fantastic. It's written by Jeff Loeb, who's written some other great, fantastic books, and the artwork is by Tim Sale, and his artwork is fantastic. You just got to see this. It's a fantastic story about a serial killer who kills only on holidays. And it's written as a mystery. Batman's trying to figure out who did it. And hopefully when you're reading it, you don't go to the end to see who the killer was. You try to figure it out yourself. And I thought I had it, but I was way off. And in this story, you're going to meet, but who's in the story is Catwoman. You also have Two-Face, Mad Hatter, Poison Ivy, Penguin. I think that's it. There's a couple other ones. I don't want to spoil it for you. Just enjoy it. It is a fantastic read. I recommend anybody who's going to do a Batman book. I always recommend that one. Batman Year One is fantastic too, but that one is my personal favorite. So check out that one. And until we meet again, which is next week, remember, reading rocks, and the book was better.